So today's lesson will be divided into three parts: the demo platform, the story behind the dashboard, and how to make this dashboard. So previously, we have had several sessions about basic functions of FineReport, like parameters, charts, data entry, and so on. So I think you guys have been more familiar with FineReport, and it's time to use it to make some demos in actual business scenarios. Most of business activities involve some common scenarios like sales management, financial management, production management, and so on. And today we will focus on production management. But before we dive into more details about this production management dashboard, let me introduce our demo platform to you guys first. So here is the link of our demo platform, and all you need to do is copy this link into your browser and open it. So here I've already opened our demo platform. So in the left part, you can see there are many categories here. You can see here many categories here, but and this demo platform is categorized as three categories: the business application, the industry application, and function. So below these categories and directories, there are some demos. For example, under this business application directory, there are HR management, financial management, sales management, etc. So under each directory, there will be some demos under the directory. So you can check if there is any demo, there are any demos you're interested in, and you can view this demo in this demo platform. And the same works for the industry application. For now, we have medical, health industry, retail industry, logistics, non-bank finance, and real estate. It's not that complete, but we will keep adding some new demos of other industries or completing this existing industries. So all you need to do is to keep a close eye on our demo platform. We are going to add some new demos here. Okay, so that's just a brief introduction to our demo platform, and all you need to do is just to remember this link, and this is our demo platform link, and you can favorite it on your browser tab, right? Okay, so now let's get to the second part. I will tell you the story behind this production dashboard. So there are some problems of traditional production management. There are basically four categories of problems: unreasonable production schedule, quality problems, and untimely equipment control, and production data lag. So the first problem is unreasonable production schedule. Facing a production environment with complex constraints and dynamic changes, unsynchronized and unclear production information can easily lead to confusion in production scheduling and affect order delivery on schedule. And the second problem is the quality problem. The quality problems are difficult to locate. Quality data is scattered in various business systems, making it difficult to centralize integration and unified management, which hinders the traceability and positioning of quality problems and the improvement of product quality rate. The third problem is the untimely equipment control. Due to the large variety and quantity of equipment and scattered locations, equipment information is not that smooth and timely. It is easy to restrict equipment management and limit production line capacity. And the last problem is the production data lag. Each business module of production management needs the support of accurate data and scientific analysis, but the data flow between various business systems is lagging, which reduces the quality and efficiency of comprehensive management. So we hope the dashboard we're introducing today, we can also call it as a solution. We hope we hope it will have the effects as follows. It will make the production information more intuitive and transparent, the production's decisions more scientific and reasonable, and the production management more high quality and efficient. So we can see that from the problems of the traditional production management and the effects that we want to achieve through this dashboard, through this solution, we can extract some keywords from the problems and effects. The keywords are and the keywords are as 3 categories: output, quality, and equipment. So under the output category, there are output information, which are planned output, actual output, completion rate. And there is order completion, and there is input-output information. So these are the indicators we want to keep eyes on under the output category. And there is also the quality category, under which there are comprehensive qualified rate, first-time qualified rate, unqualified cost analysis, scrap cost analysis. And the third indicator category is the equipment. There are equipment operation information, OEE, which is availability plus performance plus quality, average failure interval, and shutdown reason analysis. So these indicators are very important to make a dashboard, because a dashboard, there are more than the layout, the style, right? It is also important to have some real content in your dashboard. So the indicators are very critical to these kind of content. And besides these 3 categories of indicators, output, quality, and equipment, we take into account the different scale of enterprises in addition of enterprises. So this dashboard, this solution also includes the corporate daily report to better meet the needs of production management at the corporate level. So eventually the dashboard will look like this. Look like this. So as we can see here, there are the home page now. Now we're seeing the home page, and there is output report page, quality report page, equipment report page, and corporation report page, just as the four categories of indicators we just mentioned before. So in the output report, intuitively and clearly, it's intuitively and clearly display the completion rate of the day, the output of each time period, the output of the last 7 days, another output-related indicator data to help managers accurately grasp the output situation and support production plan decisions. The quality report pays attention to the most critical pass rate, defect rate, and scrap rate among the quality indicators, and analyze the reason of defects and scrap in a single production cycle. It allows managers to identify problems and take measures at the first time, so as to improve the product qualification rate. At the same time, through the hyperlink of the chart, the reasons for the abnormal increase of the defect rate in the cycle are explained. In the equipment report, it clearly shows the operation status of the equipment on that day, and further compares and analyzes the 3 indicators of performance utilization rate, quality utilization rate, and time utilization rates, so as to improve the efficiency of the equipment. The corporation report aims at the situation of large corporations setting up branches in various provinces. The output and ranking ratio of each provinces are displayed in the form of a map so that the corporate managers can clarify the production distribution of each region and plan production lines for them. Okay, so that's basically the brief introduction of the story behind this dashboard. And now let's move on to the last part, which is I think you guys must be most interested in how to make this dashboard. So we can see that there are basically five pages in this dashboard. There are too much information, so today I will extract some important information, which I think is important to share with you guys. So the first thing I will share is how to go to the next page. Okay, so here is how we preview it in the browser. And now we want to do some settings about it in the designer. Here I've already opened it in the designer. Here is the original template. We can see that there are 5 pages corresponding to the homepage, output, quality, equipment, and incorporation. Okay, so the first thing I want to share here is how to go to the next page. So actually, before I've demonstrated to you guys how to move to the next page, right? If you click the output, it will show the output information, show the output report. If I click the quality, it will show the quality information. The same works for equipment and corporation and this production dashboard. If I click this production dashboard, it will go back to the homepage. So this is a way to go to the next page or to say to go to other pages. And this effect is achieved through the click event we added for these text components. So here we can see how we can add it. So here the output is actually a text component, and here is an interaction part where we can add some click event to this text component. So we can see here we have already added a click event here. It says the click event, the target of this click event is the quality daily report. What is the quality daily report? It's actually the name. It's actually the name of these pages. Right here, you can see every page has its name, right? Every page has its name, and the quality daily report is right this one. So quality daily report is this page. So the click event says if we click this text component, it will direct to the quality daily report, which is exactly what we want, right? Okay, so this is a way to go to other pages. I have also attached the help document link here. If you guys want to learn more about it, you can refer to it afterwards. And there is also another way to go to the next page. And here we say go to the next page, not the second page, third page, or other page. It's just go to the next page or move to the previous page. So here in the designer, we close this dashboard. We open this dashboard, and here there is a preview playback settings. So as the text indicates itself, we can do some settings when previewing. So we click it and we can see there is a show switch button. And now we uncheck this button. So in the preview page, if we preview this dashboard in the browser, we can see nothing. We can see there is no button. But if let's see how it would change if I check this button. So now I have checked this button and I click the save. So now this dashboard is saved, and I refresh the URL. in the browser. And as you can see here, it will show two arrows here, right? So this is the switch button. If you click the left one, it will go to the previous page. If you click the right one, it will go to the next page. So that is in particular, that is something special about this FVS dashboard. You know, our dashboard, this production management is made by FineVS, which is the file ended with .fvs, right? So this is actually a special function about this FineVS, the switch button. Okay, so now I have introduced to you guys two ways of go to the next page or go to other pages. One is to add some click events to the widget. Another is to turn on the switch button on in the designer. That is the first thing I want to share with you guys, how to go to the next page or go to the other pages. And the second thing I want to share with you guys is the parameter and query. I think that must not be that familiar with you guys because before in our sessions about basic functions on FineReport, our trainer have explained a little bit for you guys. But in this dashboard, we also use this function. So I want to mention it again. So here we have the production line and date, which is used to query information, right? If we choose the production line to production 2, the information will change. Correspondingly, if we change the date to another date, the information will also change correspondingly. So how does this affect to in our product? Let's see it in the designer. Okay, so let's take the homepage as example. So here is the production line widget, and this is the date widget. And here we can see that every widget has its name, right? So this widget, this production line widget has its name, which is CX. And this date widget also has its name. The name is date. So in this dashboard, in this FineVS dashboard, the name of every widget can just be used as a parameter. That is to say, you can use the name CX or the name date as a parameter. You can use it in the data query sentence, right? So here, we just let's select a data query sentence to see how it works in the SQL sentence. So here, this data set is a SQL sentence, right? So this sentence, this SQL query sentence uses the date parameter and the CX parameter, which is corresponding to the date widget and the production line widget we just mentioned before. So if the value of the production line and the date widget changes, the value of these two parameters will change correspondingly, which can change the SQL query sentence, right? So the information will change correspondingly. Okay, so that is how we achieve parameter and query and the FineReport dashboard. I hope you guys can find it helpful after listening. And the third thing I want to share with you guys is the picture component. So as you can see, let's see its preview effect on the browser. So as you can see, this dashboard looks very neat, right? It has many portions. Like here, this is a portion, this is a portion, this is also a portion, right? So this dashboard is very neat. We can say that its information is well organized, right? So how to achieve this neat effect? It's actually achieved by some picture components we can see it in the designer. So here, if we click this one, we'll actually find this is actually a picture component, and this is also a picture component. This is also a picture component, and here we custom upload a picture to this picture component. So if we want to, it's also just kind of a small tip that if you want your dashboard looks more neat, you can use picture components to make your dashboard more neat. It's not the only one. It's not the only one way, but it is one way to make your dashboards to look neat. So let's test it a little bit in the dashboard. Okay, so here I've already created a test dashboard, which has the same data and layout as the original template, but I want to make some changes to this dashboard. So I have created a new one named the test.fvs. Okay, so here, let me delete it first. Okay, so here, if I click adding a new page, you can see that if I add a new page here, it will be like black, right? This page is black. And now I want to put some picture components on it. So I can copy it onto this page. Onto this page. And onto this page. So the same works for the other picture component. So if later we drag some other information, like I want to drag a column chart here, and I want to drag a bar chart here, the information will be more organized because this information are about each picture component, and the picture component just partitions this page into several sections. Yeah, right. So which makes the information more clear. And talking about the picture component, there are also some other attributes I want to mention. I want to share with you guys. So here I want to drag some other picture component. So here, this is also a picture component, and for picture component, it has a picture type, which we can choose according to our needs. So let's see, you can choose from your resource, you can custom upload, or you can select online pictures. If you select online pictures, you must input a picture URL. And if you select custom upload, it will set to choose an asset, and we click choose. And here, these pictures are actual pictures that I have already uploaded. And here I want to use, let's say I want to use this one. Okay, I select this picture. So the picture just shows here. That's the picture type. And the other thing I want to mention with you guys is the picture filling method. It's right here. So now we have, so the filling method are as 3 types: adapt, fill, and stretch. So now we have chosen the adapt one. So the picture will just look like this. Let's see what changes will happen if we select other kinds of filling method. If I choose fill, you can see that this picture is different. So as you can remember, the original picture is actually, this is actually the original picture, right? It's just one circle. But now if I choose fill, it will be like this one. Why? Because the fill, if you choose the method to fill, the picture aspect ratio is unchanged and the picture size is unchanged. From the upper left corner, the components are filled with pictures. Sorry, this one. Are filled with pictures until they are filled. And let's see how it will change if I select stretch. Okay, you can see that now it's a circle, but its ratio is a little bit different, right? Because if we choose the fill method to stretch, the width of the picture stretches to component width, and the picture height stretches to the component height. Okay, so that's all the information I will share with you guys about this picture component. I hope you guys will find it a little bit useful. Also, I put the help doc link here. And if you guys have any questions afterwards, you can also refer to this help doc to get more details about this picture component. Okay, so until now, I have introduced how to go to the next page, parameter and query, and picture component, the 3 points I've already shared with you guys. And the next point I want to share is about the chart component. As you can see in this dashboard, no matter it's the output, quality, equipment, operation, there are all kinds of charts there, right? You can see this is a combination chart, this is a column chart, this is a gauge, this is a bar, this is the line chart, all kinds of charts. So I would also like to introduce something about chart components to you guys. Chart components. So I've also attached the help doc link here. We can see it a little bit in the designer. Where can I find the chart? It's right here in the in here in the left banner. There is this one, the chart, the second item in the left banner. There's a chart. If we click here, we can see there are many chart types we can drag into our dashboard. And they are already categorized for us. The column, the bar, pie, line, gauge, etc., time, combination, and then etc. And if we want to draw a new chart, we just need to choose for example, I want to draw a column chart now. I just drag it on this dashboard. And in fact, all the charts actually has 3 common attributes: the data, style, and special effects. The data is actually the most important one because, our charts is just a way for us to use to display information, right? So here under the data tab, you must choose the data set of this chart. And under the style tab, there are title, legend, label, series, axis, data type, background to select. So you can choose the color, the font size, to these are your labels or series or etc. And the special effects. So these 3 attributes are very common in chart components. After you drag the chart component onto the dashboard, you must do some settings about its data set and special effect. And for more details, we'll explain later. So there, as you can see, there are so many chart types, right? But we are explaining this or sharing this dashboard to you guys. So I have chosen some typical or some useful tips to use charts to explain to you guys. And the first chart type I want to share is the gauge. So this is a gauge. Let's see. How does the gauge chart types how are the gauge used in this dashboard? So in the output, there are two gauges here representing the completion rate of the day and of the month. And in quality report, there are also gauge here representing the qualified rate of the day. And in the equipment report, there are gauge representing the equipment utilization rate and equipment failure rate. In the corporation report, there are also two gauges here representing completion rate and utilization rate. So as you can see, gauges are widely used in this dashboard. So now I will show you how to make this gauge in this dashboard. So here in the output report, we can see that here is supposed to be a gauge, right? But I just deleted it from this test of FES because I want to make it from scratch for you guys now. And now let's see how to make it. Okay. Okay, so now we want to make a gauge here to represent the completion rate at the output completion rate of the month. So the first thing we want to do is to drag a gauge on this dashboard. Gauge, we look for the gauge here. And it looks like we are about to draw a circular gauge, right? So we just drag the circular gauge right here. Okay. So now let's adjust it a little bit to let it looks similar or looks just the same as the original one right here, the original one. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is to set data to this gauge, right? Because it has no data and the 75% is just the sample data showing in the original gauge. And now I want to choose the data. It actually represents the daily the output completion rate per month. So now we look for the data output. It's this one. Okay, we choose this one, and we set its completion rate. Completion rate is the value, is the label. Target rate, we just customize it as 1. And now the value at the center shows 90%. Now I want to change the style of this 90% to make it looks the same like the 95% here. So the 90% is actually called the label in the gauge. So I want to find it under the label tab. So I go to the label tab, and here is the font setting. I want to set it to 32, and its color should be changed a little bit. Okay, this color seems right. I want to change its font. It's like this one. Oh, this looks the same as the 95% style, right? Okay. Okay, now we have adjusted the label, which is the 90% here in this gauge. And now I want to change the outer ring here, which is here, the outer ring here, right? This color, I want it to have the same color as this one. Actually, this color is the gradient color, right? This color is a gradient color from some light blue color to some dark blue color, right? So we want to change it. It's also under the style settings. Actually, the outer ring of this gauge is called series in this gauge. So we look for it under the series, and we can see here is the color style. Now it is set as a solid color, which is wrong. I want it to be the gradient color just as the left one. So I changed it gradient color and I set the bottom end. And now I need to set the value of this gradient color. So I just click this one and it will show you some options to choose colors. Here I can just type the code, the color code I want it to be. So this color looks like the same one. And now I want to change this one, this blank space. You can see that this one is like some black color now, but I want to change it to some white color like the left one. So how do I change it? Actually, this is called the paint ground here, the paint ground. The paint ground. Actually, that is called this one. Actually, this one is called the paint ground. And if I change this, if I like to change this color, I need to change here. So I need to change this color to the color code I want. Okay. So now it looks just like the same, but its location and its size is not right, right? And because I want it like this one to fit with the outer image, with the outer picture component here, right? So we can just drag this component to adjust its size or drag it to adjust its location. But I want it to be exactly the same as the left one. So I click the left component. I move to the component tab to see what size this component is. So we can see that its width and height is always 165. So I want to set it the same for this component. So now this component size is correct. And now I just drag this component to be aligned with this left one. So now this gauge is completed, right? Okay, so that is how to make a new gauge from scratch. And I hope you guys have learned a little bit through my interpretation. And that is just the one type of charts. And the next chart type I want to share with you guys is the combination chart. But as I can see, it's already time already passed about 40 minutes. And as planned, we can have a 10-minute break. So it's time for us to take a 10-minute break and we'll come back in 10 minutes, right? So you can notice that it's almost 3:40 p.m. in my zone. So we'll come back in about 3:50 p.m. Okay. Okay, I will see you in 10 minutes. Okay, guys, it's time to come back. 10 minutes is up and let's continue now. So, um, I was just introducing the chart types to you guys, and I have explained to you guys how we can create a new gauge from scratch. And now I'm going to introduce something a little bit about this combination chart. You can see this is a combination chart with line and column, right? So I'm gonna introduce this type of chart a little bit. So this is a combination chart. It also has these three attributes as I mentioned before: data, style, and special effect. And since the this settings is kind of similar between different chart types, so I'm not gonna show more details about how we set data, how we change the style for this combination chart anymore. In particular, I will explain something I've not mentioned before: how to change the color of these two columns right here. As you can see here in this column part of this combination chart, the two columns, the color of these two columns are exactly the same, right? But sometimes to achieve better visual effect, we like to make it look different, like this one. Like in this combination chart, the color is different. One is a more lighter blue and one is a more darker blue. So how do you do this settings in Designer? It's actually achieved by by the special effects I have not mentioned before. So let's learn a little bit about this special effect now. So under this special effect, there is interaction and conditional effect, and then the conditional format. The conditional format is sometimes a very critical to our chart. So here under this conditional format, there is also a column or the line. So now I want to set the color of the columns. So I choose the column one, and now I like to add some conditions here. So I click add. It will pop up this setting box. So this means, okay, I'm not gonna use this one. So on this part, you can see there are common conditions. And here we can choose category index, category series index, something. These are all the attributes of this combination charts. So we want to set the column color differently. The column is actually the series of this combination chart, right? So we want to change it to the series name, and I want to be equal to processed quantity. So this means, so what does this setting means here? What does this setting mean here? So this means if the series name equal to this one, equal to this string I just typed here, is if it's equal to processed quantity, then what will happen? Then what will happen will be set here. You can choose what will happen here. This is the condition part. This is the result part. So I already said something will happen if the series name equals to process quantity. I want this result to be the color changes to some other color, right? So I choose the attributes to match color, and I want it to be a gradient color, a more lighter gradient color than this darker blue one. So I just said here, like what I said for the gradient color before, I just typed the color code here. The color code I want it to be here. This one, this one. Okay, now I have said, so this means that if the series name equals to process colon T, the series, the series, this series, the color for this series will be this color I just said, this gradient color I just said here. And then I click add. That means this condition format is added to this chart. Okay, now you can see that this color is changed immediately, right? This color, the color of this column, this column. Actually, this is the quality, this is the qualified column T, right? Processed column T, right? I just type it if the series name equals to column T, processed column T. So it's like this one. So that's how we can change the color of these two columns. I think that might be a little bit helpful because, in actual business applications, if you are making dashboards, you won't like the color of the two columns to be exactly the same because it's not easy to separate one from each other, right? So if you set them with different colors, the information will be more intuitive, right? So that is the application of the conditional format under the special effects. And the next thing I want to introduce to you guys is about the called cumulative chart. Cumulative chart. Okay, so and this one and this page here, you can see now here. This is also a combination chart, right? But it is a little bit different from the prior combination chart I just introduced with you guys because the prior one it had just two columns and we set different colors for the two columns. But here you can see we have many series here. It's like one, two, three, four, five, six. It's like it has six columns, or we can say it has six series here. And if the series is arranged like here, if it's arranged its way, now the information is not that clear, right? I cannot see very clearly which one is which one and the information about each series, right? So now I want to make these columns cumulative to each other. And the actual effect will be like this. So the actual effect will be like this, right? The columns are cumulative to each other. So we can intuitively see the proportion of each series, right? Okay, so let's see how to make the columns or how to make the series cumulative. So here, these columns are series, right? So, so the first thing we can think where you set about these settings is to find the style one. So we go to the style tab and we look for the series. And we can see here, if we drag it down, move to the bottom. If we move to the bottom, we can see here is called a stack and axis. It's actually a setting to decide whether your axis need to be stacked. If the axis is stacked, your series, your chart is more cumulative, right? So we add a condition here, a stack and axis condition here. And here we can see here is a stacked setting. We can choose yes or no here. So now we want to make it to stacked, right? To be stacked, right? So we choose yes. We can just choose yes and add. And let's see its effect. I can just click save, and I want to preview its effect on the browser. So it's the equipment report page. So I move to the equipment page. Okay, we can see that it's not changed now, right? It must be something wrong about it. Let's check. Okay. I just click add, so it won't take effect because I'm not adding some condition here. Here is the common conditions. I'm not adding some condition here. So if I click add, it means if your series index equal to 0, this configuration will take effect. But I'm not wanting that effect. I want this configuration, this stack effect to always take effect no matter what is the condition. So I'm gonna remove this condition. And I'm gonna remove this condition and just stack yes or no. Just select yes for this stack one. That's enough. So no more operations, okay? So here we can see that these columns are stacked now. Okay, so it is very easy to set the columns to be stacked. If you know where to find it and how to set it, all you need to do is turn on the stacked button on, right? I can say this is also a small tip when you are making dashboard, because sometimes because in actual business applications, there are always more than 2 series, right? And at that time, you might want to use the stacked effect to make your chart look more intuitive and let people can grasp the information at the first sight, right? Okay, so now I have introduced the how to make the color of the 2 columns look different if you just have 2 series, and how to make the columns or how to make the series stacked if you have more than 2 kinds of series. And the next thing I want to talk about is the alert line. Okay, so let's see in this dashboard, we can see here. Yeah. We can see here in the equipment report part, there is an alert line right here, right? Because sometimes in actual business applications, especially for this OEE trend, managers will want to know the average of the OEE trend, and if the OEE rates of the special day of the particular day exceeded or are below the average, and if the rate is below the average, the manager will learn to how to will try to figure out the reason for that day, why the OEE trend is so low, right? So here, this average trend or this alert line, we can also call it an auxiliary line. This auxiliary line is also very important. It helps us to better grasp the information of this chart. Like in this one, the average is about 61%. And we can see that on September the 1st, the actual OEE is 59% and it's below the average. And on this September 2nd, the OEE trend is actually the 64%, which is above the average trend, right? That information is kind of important to management, for managers to find out why, to find out the reason, so they can take some measures to improve, right? So Now we are going to introduce how to make this line. So here in the text dashboard, I already deleted that that's average line. So I'm gonna add a new one for you guys with you guys now. So as you can see, that OE line is actually in the join area, right? It's in this join area. So we can try to find it under the style. You can see there is a background, and here is the join area. Here is where we can set the alert line right here. Right here, there is an alert line setting where we can add some alert lines. So here I want to add one. So I click the plus button and position. We can choose the position. We want it to be on the y-axis, right? We choose the y-axis. And as we said before, the OE average is about 61%. So the value I wanted the value to be the 61%. And its location, its position is on the right, right? It's on the right, not here on the left. So I choose it to the left, the right. And the content is the content. We can custom the content. You can write, you can type anything you want it to show. So I want it to show as average, comma, and 61%. So I just type this. I just type this text. And as you can see here, it already shows itself, but it's not a dotted one, right? Not a dotted one. It's not a dotted line. It seems a little bit strange on this dashboard. So we want to change its line style. Okay, so we modify a little bit to the setting we just do before. We change this line style to the dotted one. And then we can preview it, the equipment. And then we can see that this alert line is made. So also this alert line setting is just like the stacked one setting. It's easy if you know where to set it, right? But I think it's also a small tip because in actual business applications, managers will want to know the average value or the warning value, so they can take some measures if the value of some particular day exceeded or are below the average one or the warning value, right? Okay, so that's some kind of basic chart types I have introduced to you guys. The gauge, the combination chart, the cumulative chart, and how to add alert lines in the charts. I hope you guys can learn a little bit about our chart component after this explanation. And the next chart component I want to share with you guys is the map. So sometimes you want to show some geographical information. This is when you need to use the map component, right? It's actually very common in our dashboard making because you always have some geographical information you want to show. So here we have a map component here. If we move our mouse onto the coordinate region, it will show some information. For example, if I move the mouse to this province, it shows the output of this province is 80. If I move to this province, it shows that the output of this province is 120. So how to make map and how to make a map and what is the most important thing to set when you are making maps here? I will explain to you guys in the designer. Okay, so here is the map. Here is the map. And as you noticed, the map settings has more than 3 kinds, right? So as I mentioned before, data, style, and special effect are some basic settings of all chart types. But you can notice that there is a type setting of this map. So this is very particular about map. Under this map, under this type settings, you need to choose the boundary, the GIS layer, or you can set the center, the zoom level, etc. So here we choose the map boundary as China, which means the whole map will show China. Right. So if you want to, you can also choose the map boundary to other countries. For example, to let it to show your country. If you have the JSON file, you can add it to your report, to your FineReport, and it will refresh here, and you can add your country as your map boundary. And here I choose the GIS layer as now. The GIS layer means, what does GIS layer means? It is just, let me show you for you guys. For example, this, I want to copy it to a new page, okay? We're going to copy it to a new page here. This is the map. I just set it as now, right? You can also custom it. For example, here we already have some built-in custom GIS layers for you to choose. Like if we choose blue, it's basically the background of this map. It's black. If it's fresh, you can see the difference, right? So also you can custom this GIS layer here. If we want to custom it, you can select custom line layer, and you need to put GIS layer URL here. So the GIS layer will change according to the URL you just inputted. Okay, now we set it as now. And the next part is to set data. I like to mention the data part in the map, particularly because the data is very important for this map, right? Because our intention to use map is to, when we move the mouse here on some particular region, it will show some information here, right? But if the data is not matched, if the data we used are not matched with the map data, this information won't show. So data matching is very important, data matching. So here, we just select a data set for this map, and we choose the province as the area name. And here is a little settings here, which is very important. We can click it. And as you can see, here is the area name, and there is a match to column. The area name is the data field value which you select from this data set. And the match to column is actually some data from the map, from the JSON map, from the JSON file of your map. So these two information must be matched so that some information will be correctly showed on your map. Okay, so as you can see, I'm not gonna explain some more details about this map to you guys. I just select the most important one, which I think is the most important, which is the data matching, and some basic setting like how to change your map boundary, how to select GIS layer. But if you guys are interested, you can refer to our help document afterwards to study it further. Okay, so that is the end of the explanation of chart components. I've already introduced with you guys the gauge, combination chart, cumulative chart. how to add an alert line and the map chart. So that's these like 4 kinds of chart types are almost every chart types we have already used in this dashboard. So I hope that will help you guys a little bit to how to make a chart in the dashboard. And now we like to move on to the next part, the text components. So as you can see, there is more than charts in this dashboard, right? Because we also have here the text, here is also the text, and here is also the text, right? So I'm gonna introduce the basic types of text components to you guys. So one type is just the title one. So output, quality, equipment, corporation, production dashboard. They are just the pure text using title components, right? So I'm not gonna explain a little bit more about this title component. But I want to introduce you guys to a rich text component right here. What is a rich text components? Here, these two uses rich type components. So rich type components are often used to make text descriptions, dynamic data in large screens, or to display article information in large screens. So let's see how it works in the designer. So here it is a rich text component. This is also a rich text component. As you can see, in this one, it has a formula and a string, right? It means it represents the process quantity, the value of this process quantity, and this one represents the value of the qualified quantity. As we can see in the formula, there is a SQL formula which extracts value directly from the database. And as you can see, you can set different font style for different fonts here. For example, if I type 111 and I want to show it, I want to change it to another font size. I can adjust it, right? So it's typically so basically you can type everything in this rich text component, and you can control to change lines or to leave a blank line, whatever. That is very useful in this dashboard. And one thing to notice is that rich text component, this rich text component is also a special function in the FineVS dashboard. So how to make a new one, you can just drag it from here. Here on the third item on the left banner, there is a text. And here you can see there is a rich text. You can drag it here and you can create a new one here. Okay, so that is the rich text component. And another text component I want to share with you guys. Oh, sorry, I forgot there is also a help doc link here for rich text. If you like to know more about this application, you can refer to this help doc afterwards. And now let's move on to another type of text component, the table. So we can see here we use the table, right? We can see it's a table component. So an actual business application, there must be scenarios where you have many fields and you want to show every information, you want to show information of every field, right? Like here, in the output report, it shows the order information of the day. It has the order ID, daily plan output, daily actual output, completion rate, total order, total output, work progress, or something more. So if you have many fields, you can use the table component to display this information. And the table component is basically the same as the usage of a general report.cpp template. And I think you must be very familiar with .cpp template because, you know, we have had sessions about this general report before. The use of this table is just as the .cpp template. Okay, so now here we found this table component. If we want to edit this component, we just click it. We click the edit component here. Here, the edit component. Okay, so we click edit, and then we are directed to other page, to the table component editing page. And here, it's like the CPT general report editing page. It has some cells, right? And in each cell, you can insert text or data column or formula or etc. And please notice that if you want to go back to the original dashboard, because now we are in this one, we're in this page, we're in this table component editing page. If you want to go back to the dashboard, you need to click this one, this form, and you can go back to the dashboard. Okay, I click on form, and now I'm back to the dashboard editing page. And that is the two kinds of test components I just introduced to you guys, the rich text component and the table component. And as you can see here, if we click the text, there are actually the rich text, the table, and the title. The title component. As for the title component, I think you guys must be very familiar because it's like a text. It's like a text area. If you drag it onto this dashboard, you can type anything here, right? Or you can also insert formula on this title component. As we use the title components in this dashboard, we use it for the title production dashboard, and we use it for the output quality equipment corporation. That is each titles of the 5 pages, right? Okay, so that is typically that is basically all the types of text components here. So I think the text components is also over, and I hope you guys have learned a little bit about how to use text component right now, how to choose the corresponding text component to your needs. So if you want to if you need a title on your dashboard, you can select the type. You can select the title component, right? And if you want to make some text descriptions, dynamic data in large screens, or to display article information in large screens, you can use the rich text. And if you have multiple fields to display, you have much information to display, you can use the table component, and that is basically the same as the usage of the general report.cpt template. Okay, so I think we have covered a lot of information today. So let's take a review on what I have shared today. Okay. So firstly, I have introduced our demo platform to you guys. All you guys need to do is to remember or copy this link to your browser, and then you can enter our demo platform. in which there are already all kinds of demos there, like business application demonstrations or industry application or some function demos. And we are keeping adding new demos there. So we appreciate it if you keep your eyes on our demo platform, and hopefully you will find these demos useful or helpful or give you some inspirations. On the second part of this day of today, I have introduced the story behind this dashboard to you guys. So from the story, we extract some indicators for this production dashboard, output, quality, equipment, and then we add the corporate dimension. So we have the basic story behind this dashboard. And the last part, which is also I guess the most interested part you guys must be in, is how to make it. So in this part, I basically introduce some few things about how to go to the next page, parameter and query, picture component, chart component, and text component. So in chart component, I introduced the gauge, combination chart, combinative chart, alert line, map, and lastly, the text components. So I think that's pretty much everything that I have for you guys in this training. Hopefully you can find this presentation informative and helpful. And now if you have any questions, you can leave it in the chat box. Okay, so no questions, right? If you have questions, you can leave it in the chat box. Okay. So if you have no questions before we conclude, I would like to kindly ask you to take a few minutes to fill out a short questionnaire about today's presentation. Because your feedback is very important to us and will help us improve future sessions. The questionnaire will be available through a link in the chat box. And we appreciate your participation and thank you in advance for your valuable feedback. So in the questionnaire, if you want to get some other information, or what would you like to what would you like to listen for the next session? You can also give some feedbacks in the questionnaire, okay? Also, after you fill out the questionnaire, you can acquire the template we're using today, which is this one. So this template will be sent to you guys if you fill in the questionnaire. Okay, so now if you have no questions, but if you have more questions afterwards, so after this meeting is concluded, if you have more questions, you can join our Fine Group user group to connect, learn, and enjoy Fine Group with data experts and enthusiasts. So how to join the Fine Group user group? The link will be sent in the chat box. Okay, again, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate your engagement and participation throughout the session once again. Okay, so thank you for being here and I salute you for your interest in this topic. So if you have no questions, our meeting will conclude in about 1 minute. Okay, so no questions. So it's time to say goodbye. Bye bye, bye bye, and have a wonderful day. Bye.